So it's nice to know that VTubers are still popping off in 2024. Recently, I've been having this one channel, Core of Midas, coming onto my screen, and I've been thinking about it a lot recently. So the conceit of Core of Midas, at least as far as I can tell, this was somebody's vent channel the way that K Angel has her personal other alt, and eventually, in posting these vent TikToks, something resonated in other people, and recently, Core of Midas shot up to 12,000 in the course of a couple of weeks, which it's really good. I think it's really fantastic to know that VTubers still have the capacity to go viral, even in like that kind of bubble way. I think it's really good to hear that, because it gives some of the smaller creators such as myself a bit of hope. But also, I'm really curious about why this particular channel popped off. Core of Midas especially was not expecting her incredible rise. I think what's interesting is the frustration, the angst. I mean, it is a vent channel after all, but what's interesting to me is how resonant it is with the community. There is a palpable frustration with content creation that is, to me, visible in this person's work. Everything that they've tried in order to keep up with or follow through with the tide that is trending and such eventually fizzled out. And according to Core of Midas, the most resonant thing that she created was this frustration that she had with the space that she was in. And I think that leads to two kind of conclusions to take. One, either we're entering a space, we're entering a time in the VTubing community wherein character or persona is becoming less and less important. We've always looked at folks like Bao and Shy Lily and others with the eyes that, oh, this is them presenting their authentic selves, and because they're doing that, they are resonant and they can last doing this kind of stuff, the stuff that they do, frequently and more often. And I think that's good. I think it's interesting to see somebody just be themselves and be popular. But I think we've seen that primarily in the kind of like high energy kind of person you'd like to meet way. And by her candor, I'm not sure I'd want to meet Core of Midas. There's a lot of frustration there, and rightful, proper frustration towards the Sisyphean task of pushing yourself and showing yourself off only to be hit with nothing. I think it's a very real frustration. I don't think it's a character, at least as far as I can tell. And in that authenticity, or at least artifice of authenticity, people are attracted to this kind of very tangible frustration that is often filtered in even the largest creators. Like when we see Sarue isn't the kind of person to sort of hold back what she believes in or what she's frustrated with. But I think overall, she still has that kind of like high energy. And by high energy, I mean like high positive energy. This kind of like live in and let live, roll off the shoulders tomboy energy, where Core of Midas seems to have this kind of frustrated, just about to blow energy, and it's kind of manic in a really interesting way. And the second conclusion, possibly, is that Core of Midas is endemic of the kind of burnout much of the VTuber space is facing right now. We're half a decade into the VTuber boom, and she's making all of these concerns that are shared by all of us explicit for the first time outside of Twitter. There's a lot of negativity on Twitter. It's part of the reason why I don't really interact on it that much, but I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube speaking to how the VTuber community can be really rough. It's a lot of cloud chasing and a lot of sort of crab mentality, foot overhead, etc. But I think it's interesting to see that these shorts the quickest vehicle right now to reach as many people as possible. Once these shorts have taken on this kind of vent, this frustration with the VTuber community, I think it's very cathartic for a lot of people watching. For a lot of people who wanted to be VTubers but gave up, or otherwise still are being VTubers, but no longer have the same sort of rose-tinted glasses as they thought when entering the space. They would be the next Kiara, they'd be the next Pomu Rainpuff, they'd be the next I'm trying to think of other big folks. Iron Mouse is probably the biggest VTuber out there. I can't believe I forgot her. I think it's interesting that in many ways, right, if you look at the situation from a meta level, from a level sort of divorced from like the content initially, and say what this content attracts, we see that its target audience is the VTuber community, or VTuber fans who are also have these same frustrations. You get back what you put out in the world more often than not. And I think what Core of Midas is receiving is the influx of individuals who are also disillusioned with the space. She made a video. Well, the video that really drew my attention the most was a video called The VTuber Community is Incestuous, in that it doesn't really leave itself. I mean, this video in and of itself is a product of that quality of the VTuber community. You'd think that this kind of commentary or this kind of idea, VTubers would try to make regular content or content aside of this niche, of this space, to grow out and hit different audiences. But what we are seeing instead is that we're kind of hashtagging things with VTuber, expecting other VTubers and other VTuber enjoyers to find it, when we talk about VTubing being saturated. Indeed, the people who are already watching VTubers have already settled in on the people that they like. So to find the new folks, you need to find people who aren't generally watching VTubers anymore. You know, it's interesting that this critique is what draws attention. Midas has explicitly stated how the space that she created was meant to be a vent, rather than content with a target. But there is a target audience, or rather, there is an audience being targeted here, and that, or the people, or this type of content is made for a certain kind of person, and it's for people who relate, for people who want to vent back. Ding ding, 10 minutes.